Hey, hello. My name is Sugi Yamagawa, and today on VTubing My Slow Life Hobbies in My 30s, we are going to be continuing the Apple crate build. So, for those who do not know, I am using pallet wood. Oh wow, I shook the camera more than I thought. It is a pallet wood only limitation, as outlined in all the fun thumbnails that I made for this, and the rules. Pallet wood only, rule number 1. Rule number 2, only use hand tools. So it hasn't been much of a challenge, but a lot of what's been done so far has mostly been breaking down the pallets. I've got really long boards here, and then if I go over here, I have shorter ones. These are actually both oil furnace pallets. Oh, Dad's Old Shop, good evening to you as well. And oh man, the individual that I may have to unfortunately hurt their feelings, because I have been doing some work on the build a little bit, and mostly what I've been doing has been relating to testing out the hand planer, which I have managed to get a reasonably good edge with the Worthington hand plane. But the issue is these two edges are probably going to be the only hand planing I do for this project. Primarily because this workbench I have is on wheels. Which, I mean, it makes it very mobile. I can adjust, I can scoot stuff, which generally speaking, for being in a relatively small shop, is benefits. However, though, for hand planing, this is not benefit. It is demerit. So, for the planing, because, I mean, this is pallet lumber. Boy, oh boy, is this some rough stuff. And one of the reasons why it looks so moldy is also because this was put together when the wood was very wet still. So, yeah, that's kind of why it looks like garbage. But, yeah, I'm gonna have to... Your goods card scraper, though. Oh, man. Another tool on the list of tools. Granted, I actually do want a card scraper, but... Granted, I also know card scrapers... Sandpaper works, too. I have no problem with sandpaper, but... It took a fair amount of material removing to get this amount of shavings and to get that much of a clean edge. I really don't want to go the sandpaper route. Also, another thing with some of these boards, specific like this one, like right here, as you can see, we have like a little bit of a ledge. Now, this ledge is probably, it's like nothing. Pressure wash it clean. Oh man, pressure washing. Technically, a pressure washer is not a hand tool. Those are some nice shavings, man. Thank you, but I did, I've got the hand plane fairly well set up. It's just, it's not that I'm fighting my plane. I'm actually fighting my workbench, because my workbench will really just lunges every time I would go to take a shaving, and it's like, I am fighting my environment, and I'm fighting my workpiece in wood. It's just not a good thing to do. It's just not a good thing to do. If you get into no project that you're doing for fun is worth getting frustrated about. It's just not. And if I were to hand plane everything with my current setup and equipment, I would get very frustrated very quickly, because if I'm just doing edge planing and I'm having to fight this stuff, I'm having a bad day. But yeah, these guys are going to go through, well, actually, wait a second. Can I? Okay. Yeah. We're going to go for a ride. Bleach water mix and a scrub brush should clean it. Yeah, but I also need to... It's not a cleaning issue, but it's also, like, this is just really, like, rough surface textured wood. And, like, we need to get it... We have... It's also very splintery in the state it's in right now. Whereas the state I wish to get it to is nice and smooth and isn't going to put splinters in my hands and is good for holding apples. Also, if I bring the planers into the mix, I can actually reduce my stock, my thickness, because one of the reasons why I'm actually using this material is because of how thick it is compared to other pallet wood, which actually, I have my comparison piece. So this is what I am primarily working with. This is standard pallet wood. When people do like various like YouTube videos or something of doing edge planing is a heck of a lot easier. I have a whole set for face planing on. Yeah, that's so. Yeah, if I had like a 300 to 400 pound bench, yeah, I could totally at least bare minimal edge plane everything. But that was kind of like the thing. It was like edge planing. I was fighting it, and I was like, oh no, if I'm fighting it when I'm edge planing, surface planing with knots is just going to be a whole other like different story. But yeah, I have really thick stock here. That's a thicker board. Yeah, it is. So this piece of work, this work piece right here, this is, I think this is a 16th shy of a full inch. This piece, and then this other piece, it's not 3/4. It is, it's less than 5/8. What's, oh dang it, I gotta get into the 16ths with this. It's 9/16. It's a little bit thicker than a 1/2 inch. So, I mean, it's wood, you can use it for things, but it's just not the best stuff, especially after you clean it up. Because once you clean something like this up, you're down to like 1/2 inch, maybe a bit less of material. Whereas even if I do like a really good like thickness planing on this, just to smooth out both these sides, I still have plenty of wood to build something solid with versus, well, ordinary pallet wood, which is why I've been holding on to this material for so long. But we're gonna be going on a bit of a field trip, which light out, and the field trip is to, wait, there it is. There's the star of the show. I love it. But yes, that I've also got my hand plane on. But this wonderful thing that's just barely out of my reach, that is DeWalt Coon. I have a DeWalt Coon. Also, this is DeWalt Coon's first time being back in my shop in probably more than a month, because where I store him on that side of the shop, yeah, I had all that blown apart for water heater install, which, you know what, let's have some fun. Which, for that side of the shop, yeah, all my cabinetry is covered in beer labels. All my cabinetry is covered in beer labels. But there, behind those two barn doors, one of my earlier projects, is the back half of the utility room for my house. So back there is a utility room for, it's got my HVAC, there's a sub pump, and there's a water heater. Now, one of my projects for earlier this week was cutting out that, basically making a hole in one of my barn doors and putting that grill in. Also, that grill was originally white, and I painted it like I had like copper, bronze, enamel paint stuff lying around. So I painted that and got that mounted and cut out a hole so that way when the heat pump water heater runs, it actually the air it rejects has somewhere to go. And also, there's the thank you log, which I've got to do something with it at some point. But I can finally put this area back together. This is normally where DeWalt Kuhn lives, is in this side of the shop. And you can't, it's a little hard to see the little guy right there, but he's just poking out right above my, right above the little log thing. That guy is a stationary sanding machine. I want to build a sanding cart at some point that's going to live there. That might also hold other tools. So back down here, workbench, back to enough shop tour. I am not big enough of a content creator to do actual full shop tours, but eventually that is a game plan. But yeah, and that's reasonably mounted. I feel like the angle's changed slightly. Whoa. Make sure all that's locked in. And that's reasonable. I'll take it. I'll take it. So yeah. So probably the build after the apple crates is going to be working on the sanding station. Getting there. But yeah. So that's going to be, that's all like future stuff. And a little bit of like what's been going on like here in the shop. So, and it's also kind of nice to just have like DeWalt Kuhn here because he was living in the like the main common area for my basement, which is there's a wall this way, and that's the other side of the wall. But who knows? Maybe one of these days I might do a shop tour or something. But hey, we're here to slice and dice wood, or at least that's the main game plan for today. Thankfully, a lot of these short pieces are already 24 inches long. So I do want to go through these, kind of evaluate their condition, because a lot of these actually have like this edge to them. And that's going to need to get planed down. Ooh. Oh, that's going to smell great once it gets planed. Granted, the thing is, like, knots suck. But when you have like a nice glossy pine knot like that, oh my gosh, it smells amazing. It smells amazing. So, as long as we have 2 foot-ish pieces, not worried about it. Now, here we get into one of our we're getting into one of our splintered boys right here. Actually, there we go. But yeah, we got a pretty long and nasty splinter in it. Well, split. It's not a splinter unless it's in me, I guess. But yeah, that's also another reason why we need to do some serious planning. Planing words. So I think this one, I just don't want to play with the split. So I think we might set this guy off to the side, and we'll just take a foot out of the board. Because out of these pieces, I need 2 sizes. I need 1 foot long sizes, and I need 2 foot sizes. So as long as these are in somewhat generally good condition, as long as they are in reasonably good condition, they can just get put off to the side. And it's less parts for me. I finally got a splinter after 4 years of woodworking. Reclaimed plywood got, oh yeah, that will, yeah, that's something that'll get you. Gosh. Also, like cutting plywood with like something like a jigsaw, it just generates like ungodly amount of splinters. Ungodly amount of splinters. Also, I don't wear gloves very often. I'm reasonably, I'm not super soft-handed. I kind of got some calluses going on. Kind of got a couple there. But, yeah, I've dug... At this point in time in my life, I've dug enough splinters out of my hands, I don't generally worry about them. Ooh, wait. Oh, okay. I felt a poke, and I actually highlighted a nail that I couldn't fully get out, actually. Can I get this with pliers, Coon? Probably not. Oh, I pulled a little bit more out. There's more exposed, okay. Gloves just collect splinters. I mean, I like gloves, especially when I'm handling, like, okay. That nail fought me like how it did. Ooh, actually, I know what I need to do about that. All I need to do is grab a hammer and a punch it through. That's actually what I'll do. That will take care of that. Which, that right there, that's how you ruin plane blades, regardless if it's mechanical or physical. Granted, I'm sure if it was just hand powered, you're just ruining yourself right off the bat. Now this one has like a lot of rounding to it. See how like round this one is comparisons. We like comparisons here. But yeah, really rounded, noticeably lighter, but that's admittedly fine. I can actually live with that as long as it's at a reasonable amount of length of 2 feet. So let's see here. So I've got a stack of 2-foot boards. How big is my stack? I have 6 2-foot boards. And let's see, each pallet crate needs 4 2-footers. So I need to cut 2 more 2-footers out of the stock I have, which I have tons of stock. So I'm going to declare these not to be worried about. And in the interest of having a somewhat reasonable work area, I've yeeted them to the great beyond. So here is our gentleman from earlier. The one with the split. And I am going to work on getting some clamps on it. Because as far as I can tell, this has generally been the seemingly most reasonable way for me to slice wood on string. Wait, this one's been popping. Okay, so let's. I love it when I keep my marking instruments nearby. I have historically not been great with that. Ask me how I know. So I am going to want to change the angle of what I'm doing. Hello, speed square. Speed square. Line. Now I need to adjust this, because I need to bring this out more, because there's things I can do and then there's things I cannot do. I know, because I can't reasonably clamp onto the splinter din because it's weak. So what I'm gonna have to do is just turn my problem around. Ooh, wait, and this is also why we use benches with wheels on them. I can just shove it I can shove it to manipulate it. And I like shoving it around my workbench. Makes it very convenient for me to work on things. Ordinarily, it'd be way too much work. So we're gonna get a 1 foot piece, which I need 4. Wait, do I need just 4? Yeah, I need 4 of the 1 footers and 4 of the 2 footers, at least for the sides, because I'm only worried about sides for now. At least as far as like getting stuff. Well, getting pieces for the project. And that's why we're cutting the split end out. Woo! There we go. And my clamp let go. I'm gonna have to switch that clamp out. And I know what's going on. I don't have enough space. And I know what I did there. There we go. Whoa. Oh man. And there's just reasons why there's so few Project VTubers. It is just genuinely a very troublesome form of content to make. But yeah, I think this clamp is actually missing its yeah, I think this is the one I have that's missing a spring. Actually, that's tightening it. So, just to kind of give you guys a bit of a showing. Actually, no, there is a spring in it. It's just someone bought clamps from Harbor Freight. Which, funny enough, I went to an estate sale. We out there, though. We are indeed out there. And ideally, we all love our clamps. I love my clamps. Granted, I actually really like this clamp. The funny thing is, this is a Pittsburgh clamp I bought at an estate sale. Which, yeah, it's Pittsburgh branded. Now, I don't think these out here they're not explicitly labeled Pittsburgh branded, but as you can tell, basically the same clamp. Basically the same clamp. Except I think the one I'm holding in my left hand is the American-made old style version, and then this is the new cheap one. Which, granted, honestly, I think these were like $3 at Harbor Freight. Which, honestly, at that price point, I'm not complaining. I am not complaining. So yeah, we got one more 1 footer piece. Wait, should I check again? Dare I check my work? Pretty good. I'm happy with it. Good enough for apple crates. I think Harbor Freight honored their replacement policy. I think in my case, like with the Harbor Freight clamps, I'm honestly going to blame myself on it just because I think I've been a little abusy of them because I have used them. because I have used these style clamps in particular for some very abusive projects and ways. And yeah, I don't think I'm gonna hold Harbor Freight to their replacement policy on those, mostly because I blame that on yours truly. So I have a new board here. Now the question is, what sort of... I have a little bit over 4 inches here. Not 4 inches, 4 feet. I've... Oy, oy. Basically, I've got plenty of board here. And problem is I have way too much plenty of board. Because I gotta get off screen to play the fun magical game of Stack-a-Doodles. Good old Stack-a-Doodles. I love me a good game of Stack-a-Doodles. There we go. Let's see here. Does that give me... Oh, that gives me such a better angle. Oh, that's such a better angle. Sweet. Okay. Ooh, don't drop the clamp, buddy. Don't drop clamps. Then I have to pick them up off the floor. And then people might see the back of my head. Because, you know, like, some people are like... Some people like really, really, really care about like the kayfabe of being a VTuber. As you can tell, I'm a lot more looser with it personally, but granted, one of my scandal, yes, the terrible scandal of seeing the back of a guy's head and finding out that his hair is actually not white. But actually, you wouldn't see my hair if you saw the back of my head. Because actually, when I do shop streams, as a mental ritual, if you will, I'll take one of these shop cloths and I'll set it up like this. Take this, flop it over my head, and then tie it up. And then it's like, okay, I'm now in Sugi mode now. Sweet water of life. But that's just one of the things I do as one of my strange rituals. So, I have slightly more than 4 feet of board here. But I have this really, really terrible edge. I don't like my terrible edge. I'd like to have a better edge here. So I am going to take my saw and we're going to just cut a little bit off. Yes, sweet, sweet, mighty bandana. And there we go. I feel I need to keep having a public-facing government job and no one wants to be mad at the government as a VTuber. Oh. Okay. We have a cleaner edge. It's not exactly a straight edge, but it's cleaner. Because that's a lot better versus... That's basically the before and after of what the edge looks like. So, woo! So I think I wish to be somewhat intelligent about this, which that's a great thing. That's another great thing about being a VTuber is like you can just be like, okay, I'm gonna take my like, well, what's it called? What's okay. I heard a really weird style of popping noise, and I realized that was a car's engine popping. Because at first, because the way it was like popping, it sounded like someone was like banging on a door in the house, and I was like, wait, what? No door banging while I'm streaming, please, thank you. In an old job I was doing a consult with a client, and her phone went off. It was an anime theme song, and she was so mortified that the government man was asking about her job. OP for ignoring Gami, by the way. Oh man. Oh, that's actually fun though. I actually think it's real funny when you like actually find like yeah. Because it sounded like they were, and it was like a the way the knock was like going, it sounded like it was like a door frame knock versus like on a window knock. It was just like pop, but it was like really like dull, like it was like on wood. And I was just like, whoa, what is that nonsense? But yeah, it's always fun to see weebs in the wild. Shucks. There was a time last year. I forget if it was AC service or furnace service. I was working on the customer's furnace, and they basically had their computer set up down in their basement area, like right behind the like furnace and the ductwork for it, and they had Discord up on full screen, and it was a VTuber Discord because it was like all VTuber images in it, and I was just like, oh wow, I can't believe I have finally witnessed VTubers in the wild. Well, just VTuber fans in the wild, which is, well, actually that was the most like, oh wow, just like that's like running into VTuber fans while on the job thing. And let's see. That is a reasonable spot for a cut. Great. I would like to also grab additional clamps because woodworking, never enough clamps. There's never no such thing. Lol, you go with the client. Yeah, that's basically what I do. I mean, that's what you gotta do in like HVAC, is like you gotta go to the customer's house. Okay, that's feeling pretty tight. Yeah, that's feeling good. But that's one side of the world. I'm actually gonna support this on both sides. I actually used an offcut as a bit of a filler because my table, my table saw station is a little bit higher than the workbench. So I wanted to use that that scrap to get me a bit of distance. Now, this is anchored from both sides. should be good. Should be good. Don't know if it will be good. There's no telling how this is gonna go, but Actually, wait. I need to check because I want to see how. Because I know this piece is going to be 2 feet. Is this off? Yes. Okay. Cool. So I'll actually have almost a full 1/2 inch of wood on this piece to take off. That can get me a clean edge. I like clean edges. Makes me feel better. Or at least it makes the project like look better. Granted, I have talked about this before, but like I like a lot of my builds from the perspective of, you know what, failure's okay. Not perfect is fine. Okay, so that blade has been wanting to really curve on me on these cuts. Yeah, that straightened it out a bit better. But yeah, the workbench is really wanting to. Yeah, and what is happening is indeed as I feared. So if I take this up, because I think so I was holding that piece in compression. So I'm going to take a clamp off one side, shift it to another, check to make sure I'm somewhat level, well, secured. And then get you out. Oh yeah. And then that just immediately went down, which to me suggests I had my clamps putting a little too much pressure on where I wanted to be. There we go. So, pretty decent-ish cut. Had some issues, fixed them. So that's another 2-footer. Actually, wait, how many of you I need? Wait a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I have 6 so far. You're going to be number 8. Cool. So once I get a small chunk off this one, we'll go. Let's see. Yeah, you know what? See, that's one of the big benefits of table saw station. Table saw station weighs a lot more than my workbench. A lot more. So it's better it's a bit better of a clamping surface. Also, I wanted to be how, I suppose the nice way to say this is like budget friendly with the build. So rather than build the top counter out of, say, a single piece of plywood, I actually basically did it out of like scrap plywood. So to kind of show you what I'm talking about, actually I need to loosen that screw. Come over. So you have table saw top. Originally the plywood was supposed to be like up to like this edge or closer to the top of the saw, but I went for this more open thing, and it has been so good for like as like a clamping surface. As a clamping surface, it's been amazing. And then there we go, camera secured, and tape measure, which is those various clamping surfaces I'm utilizing now. And oh, wow. And we're gonna do that. Then speed square. And then we're gonna take off just a small smidgen of wood. A really small smidgen of wood. That one did not curve as badly as the last one, because I've had some curving a lot sooner on me, but that one still curved. So what I'm going to do here is wank. Hot diggity dog! And also I think this is one of my better cuts tonight, which is nice. Clamp. Release. So there's that cut. Pretty flattish. I'm reasonably happy with it. And I got 24 inches of lumber. And even better than having 24 inches of lumber, I actually have the last of the 2-foot pieces done. So I've got the last of those done. Now, are you my 1-foots? Okay, so this pile's my 1-foots. And I've got 3 1-foots. I need more than that. I need the 8 amount for 2 apple crates. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a measure on this guy to determine that I can take a little bit off for a clean edge. And then we'll set this up for a cut to generate a clean edge. There you go. Clamp. 1, clamp 2, and because of how long this guy is, we're going to do a 3rd clamp. So, should be plenty supported by now. Speed square. Help me be speedy and square. And with a line, we shall now proceed to cut that line to establish a clean edge. So, I would like to cut this with 2 hands. But my saw keeps drifting on me today. So, make a bit of a guiding curve. Across the top. Which helped, but in the face of my poor saw form, was not sufficient. Hey, please break off. I'd like to break off. There we go. Clean edge established. Clamp. Release. Actually, can do some manner of that. We're gonna do some sort of manner of that. And then, what I want to try is I had a lot of these boards doing wiggles on me. So, what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to have one clamp on one side of the board, and then the other side on that, and that's kind of, if the board wants to twist, that should resist the twist better, versus if I just had my boards on like one side. Or at least that's the thought. That's the thought. Actually. Okay. That other end's reasonably free in the air. Wanted to make sure it was free in the air. Okay. We'll do. We want 1 foot piece. Because we need to get some 1 foot pieces going here. Hopefully, the stream will have its intended consequences. And that is, working with hand tools is a lot of work. Oh, hello, hello! Yoshiharu, how's life treating you? Hope it's treating you well. So far today has been lots of sawing. Which, honestly, that's all today's going to be, is lots of hand sawing. Because we gotta take the big boards, and make them into our small pieces. All that fun stuff. Which, actually, a game plan... No, actually, yeah, I am cutting enough pieces for 2 apple crates. Which is what I want. Oh, yeah. Let's see here. Now, hopefully at some point I'll be able to make it straight cut at one point. I hope so. But all my cuts keep curving. Keep curving to the left, which... How dare you betray to the world I'm left-handed. That's what I call reasonables. That's a reasonably good cut. And... yeah, about a foot long. So yeah, that's about... we're halfway through cutting these pieces. Okay, loosen 1, loosen 2. Granted, my clamp plan did work out. Which I do like it when the plan works out. Seems like oftentimes a lot of things I do is just like, that seems like a reasonable idea, let's try it out. Then I try it out, and then it's like, well, I tried that out. Certainly gave it the college try. Ooh. Yeah. Also, sorry for how much the camera's going to jiggle today. The camera's on the miter saw station. Ooh. I may have not pulled that far enough forward. My 1 foot is here, which is fine to an extent. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We will see how this goes. Yep. Okay. Let's see here. You know what? I do have enough room between my hands and the saw station. So that's what we're talking about. Oh. My saw did not drift that time. My saw did not drift. And we have a foot of board, 2 clean edges. That's 5 pieces out of 8. Done. Hot diggity dog. So, now this is going to get really interesting. Ah, Captain Cocoa Puff. Hello, hello. I gotta say, so far I'm doing good. And I hope you're doing good as well. Oh, nah. Okay, yeah. I can still get my... I can still get my handy-dandy tape measures through there. I was a little concerned at one point. I was like, ooh, did I give myself enough room for that? I certainly hope I give myself an... Ooh, yeah, that's also another thing. That's another thing. Did not take that into consideration. I have to come off this edge, because this edge here is my clean edge. So, let's see here. Just give myself just barely the right amount. You had to hear, not bad on my end, just getting stuff done. Ah! Good old getting stuff done. That's actually what I did last. Actually, wait a second. Did I? I mean, I did share that on the socials. I'm right now thinking of an art tag. Ooh, okay. Keep up that thinking. Keep up that thinking. Let's see here. I actually need to. I actually want to show one of the big things I did last weekend. Even though this is going to result in a horribly, like, Twitter compressed image, but who cares? Who cares? This was the big fun that I had over the weekend. There's downloads, paragraph. Wait, paragraph text? Wait, I don't need paragraph text. Cancel. Wait. Did it download? Wait. Oh, it might be in... Oh! You will. Oh boy, oh boy. Let's see here. Did I get saved to pictures? I love OBS how it doesn't give me big... It doesn't give me big pre-screen stuff. That's weird. I know I hit the download button. Oh, actually, no, I just did the save image as. Okay, wait, where did I stick it? I stuck it in downloads. Why? Okay, you know what? Actually, I couldn't find it. There, so we'll just save it to a different spot. And we'll see if it pops up in a different spot. Which, who knows? Did it show up in... No, it's not in screenshots. Because it's weird, because it's like when I go to download it, it gives me a file path. But then I actually like go to find the thing. It's not giving it to me. Wait a second. I am saving it as a JPEG image. Wait a second. Here's some shenanigans going on here. Because if I go into my standard... Wait. Or is it just hidden? Is it okay, so it's right next to those. So if I go to pictures, it should be... It's not there. OBS can't grab it. Why can't OBS grab it? Huh. Okay, well, This is the first time I actually just tried to like straight and wholesale pull something from Twitter for stream, and it does not like it when I pull stuff from Twitter. You know what? I'm gonna try Bluesky. I think it's like how it wants the. So I can either, you know what? We're gonna do it as an all files. It doesn't. Wait. Oh. Ooh, wait. This might actually work. Oh yeah, because sometimes it because it will do it as a certain. Yes. Haha. I am not brilliant, but I am kind of smart. But I figured it out. So this is the big ooh, wait. I don't know if I wanted to move that. Oh, that's not the worst thing in the world I could have moved. But yeah, this is actually what I spent my weekend working on, was building a second woodshed. Because one, I needed a second woodshed. And two, when I bought the roofing material for the first one, which you see stuff to the brim, off to the left, I bought so much roofing material that I had enough roofing material for 2. So I was like, you know what? I should just build a second one, because it's only going to be like the cost of the lumber, which right now I can get cedar for a really good price right now, and the fence stones that you see it resting on. Now, granted, I was thinking about making a how-to video on that versus my like just yapping video, and holy smokes, that consumed the better part of my weekend, was making this thing, because originally I was planning to be out of town with friends, and my friend was like, hey man, work says I gotta work, so I can't hang out with you. And I was like, oh man, I can't hang out with my friend. So I built a woodshed instead. But that was my big to-do this past weekend. So, and actually I'm gonna have it, oh, wait, central, hey now. There we go. We'll just park it away off screen for now. Yeah, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. But yeah. For now, cutting. Ooh. Wait. Yep. I'll just be. So I'm going to actually just be clipping the side of this knot here. So that's going to be exciting. But. Okay. So I'm going to be doing the same technique I did on the last one, and that's where I get it started a bit, and then I bring my saw and bring it parallel. Oh boy. I apologize for the camera shaking. And then that basically gives me a guiding kerf line all the way across, so when I actually go to make a big cut, hopefully it'll just go like straight through. And I'm going to be pretty easy going about it, especially for this first part, because that first part right there is a knot. Ooh. But it was I trailing? Looks like I was trailing just a little bit there. So I'll refine my curve from earlier. And I'll just start working on the cut from that side. Ooh. Really thought about it at the end. Now, I'm really curious here. Yep. Okay, so let's clean this up a little bit. So that really shiny portion, you can see where my thumb is. That's the knot. Also very sappy. Smells wonderfully like pine though, but I do kind of have to worry a little bit about my saw. And the thing is with like, especially with pine, I just want to make sure that I look, reflective surfaces. I just want to make sure I don't have like any tar buildup or sap buildup happening in the saw, especially when I cut something that has a whole lot of sap, like the knot does. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we are getting to theirs. We are getting theirs. Oh wow! Actually, wait a second. Here, you're not gonna hang on. Let's see. Can I freehand this a little bit? I have a bit of a nub. And I reasonably got the nub. It smells like pine. Like, it smells intensely like pine. So, I actually kind of have a rough edge here, but I do think my board's a little bit longer than a foot. Holy, we are a 1/4 inch past a foot. So, stay put. Please and thank you. And we're gonna get clamps back on. And we're gonna be doing our final length cutting. So we got secured. Piece of wood is secured because I can shake it and I can make the camera go very shaky. However though, the amount of material I have to play with is a bit less than what I was originally expecting. I was originally expecting to have a hair bit more. So I am going to be cutting I'm going to be cutting close to the edge. But still more than enough room for me to do what I need to do. Ideally. Except my saw likes to drift. My saw has a terrible problem drifting. Let's see. Oh. My camera's shaking a little too much. Let's see if tightening that up helps. Oh! Okay, well, that took off. That took off incredibly. Oi, oi. Stay. Ha! I saw you weren't going to stay, and I called you. I called you out on it. I knew you weren't going to do it, Clamp. Whoa. But yeah, there we go. That's going to be our last 1 foot-ish piece of wood. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh wait, no, that's not my last. I actually need one more. You know what? And for our next board, I'm gonna be reasonably. I'm gonna call that edge reasonably good. So I'm gonna not worry about cleaning that edge. So we're gonna get this piece up here, reasonably set up, have enough room to work. All those good, wonderful things. I have all those small quality of life things that makes it easier to work on what you're working on. That's gonna get reasonably tight. Then we're gonna come in here, which the camera has moved. Because originally you weren't able to see this clamp. Oh man, my camera's been traveling on me. But yeah, this is what I was kind of talking about earlier. Originally when I first set the clamps up, I had them both on this side, but with one clamp over here and another clamp over here, where I kind of got them in this like diagonal brace, that resists the board moving. Because if both my clamps are in the same like line, that becomes like a pivot point, and then the board kind of wants to twist around that point when I'm working on it. And I have found that doing this style clamping goes a long way more, like is a significant quality of life boost for cutting these boards. So let's see. And I'm going to tighten up the knob on that. Okay. So I've got a clear thing here. So now my next mission is finding my 1 foot mark. Hello, 1 foot mark. Sweet, sweet, glorious Imperial units. Then, doop. There we go. Okay. Now let's do some cutting. Okay. Oop, don't jump out. Oop. Let's see. It should be close. And close you were. Woo! Okay. Reasonably good cut. I'll take it. It's gonna be good enough for apple crates. Yeah. Okay. So with that, I've got 8 pieces of those, and I have 8 of my birds, 8 of my 2-footers. So I have a good chunk of my pieces for the sides. For the sides. We still have, I actually have some, we actually have more work to do because I haven't even really thought about the bottoms actually. What's going to be on the bottom supporting all the delicious apples. So, but for now, I can say I'm dunsies with the pallet wood, the big pallet wood. And then we'll be moving over to this stock because I'm going to actually be using this stock because the game, kind of a rough game plan, is we'll have one board of this. You guys are closer. And then we'll have one oil furnace board and then another oil furnace board. And that's what the crate's going to be basically built out of. So these are just going to be basically filler material. So that way I can have a larger crate. Because basically what I'm trying to do... Wow, I didn't think coming up with art tag names would be this hard. Yeah, I agonized over my suggestion. So, granted, I'm surprised my suggestion was actually available. Granted, it's on one hand I'm surprised it was available, but on the other hand, concerns me that some people were probably just like, and that's probably like not the best pun in the world. So, I've definitely been drinking the water. So, Yoshinaru, feel free to be continuing to think on that art tag business, but I have to take care of some little homesteader business, and I'll be right back. I understand why people don't use Sugi. It's hard to find things that rhymes with and have something to do with art. Yeah. Yep. Um. Actually, I'm gonna be. I am wretched. I'm gonna look at something on the internet here. Let's see. Oh, spell that right. Yep. Okay. Okay. Well, I thought simple might have been a way to go, but looks like Sugi art's already been taken. Well, I'll leave you to continue to think about it. And as for me, I have boards to cut. So I actually didn't show you guys the finish edge on these guys. I actually really like these boards. I actually wish I had more pallets like these in my life, but these actually, so the boards I'm about to be working with, these came from a side discharge condensing unit pallet. And basically what it is like, it is a style of AC that's very similar in build to a North American AC, at least like the outdoor unit, but it looks like a mini split. Or at least how like the outer dimensions is it's basically a long condensing unit. And they exist because, well, shotgun housing's a thing. And in shotgun housing, you basically have like long strips of lots of land. So you don't have a lot of side yard. So you're kind of a little bit more restricted on where you have room to put an AC. So there's actually several manufacturers actually make ACs for that. And then the manufacturer that I install for also has those style of units. Granted, those style of units, because they are also heavier than a standard AC. For reasons I don't understand. Don't understand why they're heavier than a standard AC. And not like a little bit heavier. Like a lot a bit heavier. So they have beefier pallet wood, which is good for me for being a guy who likes projecting, but as a guy who has to move, ooh yeah, you guys are going through the planer. But as a guy who likes to who actually has to put the stuff in, it's a lot more work on my part. And clamp. There we go. That's a line. That's a line. It's a... Ooh. Dumb question. Did I check my full length? I want... Yeah! Woo! Hot diggity dog. Okay, I can get 2 feet out of this guy. Well, 2 2-foot portions is what I want. What I want. One a clamp. And that's 2 clamps. Okay, now, hello, shaving. Okay, so thankfully this lumber is definitely thinner than the oil furnace pallets, so this should be a lot easier cutting, or at least a lot quicker, because there's less wood to go through. So it should be a little bit more friendly to the handsaw. Oh, jumped out of my kerf there. I caught it. I caught the lumbers. But yeah. Put a sick angle on it, though. Look at that sick angle. Lumbers, are you trying to tell me that I'm not straight or something? I think that's what you might be trying to tell me. Don't tell me that. But hey. That's... But yeah, we got ourselves a nice little 2-foot piece of lumbers. So I can add that to a pile. And we can loosen clamps and get the next situation going. Which, stay put, stay put. You will not stay put. You failed to stay put. It's like me when I'm bored and I just end up getting doer zoomies. It's like, oh boy, I want to do stuff now. Never underestimate a garage uncle who comes down with a case of doer zoomies. It's like, oh boy, I gotta do stuff now. I gotta do stuff, I gotta have some fun. And I have power tools and I'm not afraid to use them. Which part of me wishes I was... Honestly, if I was using power tools, I would have long been done with my cutting. Could have long been done with my cutting, but... Unfortunately, for this build... Power tools are against the rules. Least sad. Granted, that's also kind of the point of this, is to challenge myself, grow, become possibly a better woodworker. Possibly. No guarantees. Okay. Let's take our saw. Let's get our next 2-foot piece of lumber. You're twisting something awful. I'm gonna tighten up my clamps. Better. Wow. My blade's twisting. My blade was twisting because I twisted my cut. There we go. That nice and cleaned up. How we looking? I'm happy with it. And Whoop. Keep the mirror strong. I'm trying. No guarantee, but I'm a trying. I mean, that's what doing projects is for. Wop. Actually want to kind of get an idea of where my 2-foot mark is going to come in as I try to set all this up. And it's funny, that 2-foot mark actually lined up with one of the saw cuts when this was bandsawed, which definitely a not gonna lie, I'm gonna be a really happy camper if I get one of those like big bandsaws. Because right now I do have a bandsaw, but it's like a little bandsaw. But it'll be fun to have one of the big ones where I can actually like, because if you got like a decent sized bandsaw, I think something like, well, decent size, I mean like an 11 or 12-inch bandsaw, you can actually take like small pieces of like actual like wood, and you can run it through the bandsaw, and you can actually like do some lumber milling on it. What's the YouTube channel? Workshop. Is it Workshop Companion? I think it's Workshop. Give me a moment. I need to. I want to say it's Workshop Companion. Yes. I think I'm going to click. Let's see what we get. Yes, Workshop Companion. He's got a really good video on bandsawing like lumber out of actual logs. Really good video. Cannot recommend it enough. My bandsaw is way too small to do that stuff with, though. I don't have enough saw for that. Granted, also some people also have like actual like dedicated lumber milling saw, like portable sawmill things. Man, if I had ridiculous amounts of disposable income, that's handedly what I would love to spend stupid amounts of disposable income on, is buying a portable sawmill and milling my own lumber. Which, the funny thing about milling your own lumber is like, yeah, I milled lumber. And if you've milled 1-inch boards, they need to air dry for 1 year. If they're 2-inch boards, you're looking at 2 years. I.e., it's a hella waiting game. It's more of a waiting game than like than manufacturing alcohol. Well, or like manufacturing a wine. The turnaround time on beer is really quick. My buddy got a chainsaw guide for making planks from a tree that fell in his yard. Yeah, oh yeah, those Alaskan mill setups. That's reasonably within my capability, which, oh no, because I mean, because I've got the Husqvarna Rancher 450 chainsaw, which is yes, I'm a homesteading VTuber, but I'm also a filthy suburbanite with a homestead, and that is technically too much saw for a person like me should be owning. However, though, occasionally, once in a blue moon, a tree company will come down my driveway and add a few more cracks to it because of the weight of wood they are bringing down my driveway, and then they're going to drop their logs all over my driveway. And then I get to look at them and just giggle excitedly. Which, man, granted, there would have been, if I could Alaskan milled some of my oak logs I got from my like first like chip drop log drop, holy smokes, I could probably have some beautiful red oak lumber, because okay. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you cannot. Okay, so there's not enough scale. There's not enough scale here. I had, let's see, probably about 15 seems a bit much. 10 foot seems too little. Let's call it 12. I had, I think, at least two 12-foot long, 3-foot in diameter oak logs dropped off at the house, and boy oh boy, cutting through 3 feet of log with a chainsaw with a 20-inch bar was fun. And by fun, I mean a lot of work. Granted, and actually what you have to do, actually, do I have a round thing? I have a round thing. Here's a round thing. I gotta get the round lid off the round thing. So how you have to like chainsaw those logs is, so you've got 3 foot of log across, and you've got 20 inches of bar. So you have a little bit less than 2 feet of like bars, like the length of the thing that sticks out on the chainsaw. I would have to make a cut going down one side, go around to the other side, and then make another cut. And if I got really lucky, I did a really good job of lining up the cuts, and I could get the log to separate. And then if one of my blades kind of like drifted off, I would end up with a little bit of wood in the center that would hold everything together, which added to the difficulty of what I was doing. But it was funny. I've told the story before, but when I was getting I had a roofing guy over, and he was giving me a quote on a new roof. And when he saw my oak logs I had just strewn about the driveway, and my stacks of firewood that came from some of those pieces of oak, he was like, "Man, are you one of those prepper people?" And I'm like, no, don't, no, I'm not one of those prepper people. I just have like 3 foot oak logs hanging around in my driveway because I want firewood for my fire pit. And and the roofing guy looked at the stacks of firewood, because, I mean, it took me like months to break these logs down just because it was just a lot of work. I had life. It was processed. It just took time. But he looked at firewood stack, looked at log, looked at fire pit, looked at stack of logs, look at firewood, look at fire pit, and then proceeds to look at me and goes, "Man, you're a strange bird." And then I'm like, "Man, this guy just sold me a roof." Well, you actually have skills. You actually have skills. Skills, yes. Execution varies. Well, the quality of the end result does have a bit of variability. I mean, but that's also one of my kind of weaknesses as a person, is I've never really specialized down to like one skill, one hobby, one like interest. I've always been, let's have a couple of things I'm interested in, and because one of my big things is I like to do a thing for a while and then I get bored with it, and then it's like, okay, we've done some gardening, let's hang out with some wood in the shop and do some good old shop time. So I do some good old shop time, and it's like, okay, I've done some shop time. I kind of just want to like chill and relax, so I'll do some reading. And I basically have just been like slowly building out my life where I have stuff that I can do that recharges me. Examples are listening to music watching anime, reading. Those are things that recharge my batteries. And then I have things that are just hobbies I do for funsies that kind of help me recharge, but they also kind of help me just like feel active and get some energy out of me. Like lots of hand sawing of wood and playing around in the garden, volunteering to plant trees wherever I can be like, oh, we can put a tree there, or we can put a tree there. Actually, a lot of the plantings I do, the tree species is chosen, the site's chosen. All I have to do is show up, and they put tools in my hand, and they'd be like, "Go get those trees," and I'm like, "Yeah." But yeah, way too many hobbies. I don't want to like call myself the jack of all trades. Ideally, I like to envision myself becoming somewhat slightly more specialized, like being generally okay. Well, no, generally good, and like a handful of things that interest me. That's the goal. That's the end goal, and that just takes time, repetition, and practice. What-ah! Cross-trained. Eh. But yeah. So, was on the mark, kind of came off the mark, but I didn't hook. I've been hooking really bad today, but I didn't hook, so that's good. So that's 3 of the 2-footers I need. I can't trust you because you like to yeet yourself off into the void. I don't want clamps yeeting themselves into the void. Do I just want to spin this? Yeah. We'll do a spin. Seems reasonable. Okay. That board's supported. Now, let's find the magic 2-foot mark. Ooh, there's the magic 2-foot. Well, there's the magic 2-foot area. Now we're going to turn that into a mark. Sweet, sweet, beautiful mark. Man, boy, oh boy, do I like Mark. He's a great guy on the job site. By the way, there's no one at my company that is named Mark. I just saw an opportunity to make a dumb joke. Okay. Let's see here. Can we continue the success? Okay, so we got some hooking going on. Hooking fixed. If it doesn't work when you're going from one side, try the other. Here. And you don't like to stay. And with that, wiggle you out. Stay. You stay. Please. Yeah. Otherwise, not too bad. Reasonably level. Reasonably straight. I'll take it. With that, that is 4 pieces that we need. So I have a bunch of these guys. We need 4. I need to make 4 1-foot sections. These are actually a little bit less than 2 feet long. So unfortunately, I won't be able to get 2. Actually, wait a second. Let's show the chats what I means here. Tape measure. Come back. Please. But yeah, as you can see, like 22 3/4. Not gonna get 2 1-foot boards out of this. I don't have a board stretcher in the shop. I'm too poor for that. So we are just going to be making cuts on this too. Now before I should find my 1-foot mark, because my 1-foot mark's a little bit too close to the my saw station. If I'm doing my pull saw, my hand gets a little bit too close to that, and that actually does affect the quality of what I do in ways I do not appreciate. Like, just because I don't always do necessarily the high, like, nothing I do here is like craftsman, true, like high tier, like craftsman quality stuff, you know? I am simply a guy in a shop having fun. Primarily because there's way too many, like, actual, like, really good guys. There's way too many people who are like, hey, I've been doing this. I make, like, live edge poured, like river tables and like all this fancy stuff. Like, there's not a lot of people who are just like guys just hanging out in the shop, or at least have that vibe. One notable exception, in my opinion, is Tokyo Llama. I really like Tokyo Llama. He is one of my favorite, like, woodworkers on YouTube, simply because he's a regular guy who cares about his house and wants to build stuff for around the house. I love him for it. He is easily one of the most approachable people. Granted, if you want someone who's like skilled at what they do, but also a lot more approachable, I would say, I think it's Steve Ramsey woodworking for Mere Mortals. Really like that guy. I really like that guy. He's a good guy. But yeah, and I mean, like, I also do follow some of the, like, the little bit more, like, people who have, like, whole barns of, like, shop space, which is like, oh man, if I had, like, a whole barn of shop space, I'd be way too, I'd have way too much fun with that. But that's gonna be like more retirement style. Well, as I get closer to retirement, I'm a long ways away from that part of my journey. So for now, one of like my big things is to like feel out the field of hobbies that I have interest in. Try them out at like this scale, the good old 300 square foot garage scale. Make stuff, see if it's fun, and go from there. Okay, that's probably enough yapping. I should probably actually cut some wood now. Heaven forbid. And once again, a little bit of curving of my cut of my saw. But we also have ourselves... Don't do that. Oh wow. I actually got those clamps pretty tight. It's just I also have this knot. It's giving me a lot of resistance here. Oh, come on. Yep, there we go. Slide back in there. Wow. 1 foot piece. On the pile. Okay. One of the downsides of my clamping setup, I don't have... It's great if I have a lot of board I'm playing with, but it's slightly less great if I don't have a lot of board to play with. Which I am lacking on. Darn it, Pittsburgh. You're a really good clamp. I love you. But you do your job almost a little too well. So... that'd be a good scrap for scrap pile. Sure. I've got a pretty wicked knot here. And then I've got a knot here, but that knot is not a super large one. So I think I'm going to want to take my 1 foot piece from this side of the world, because I also have kind of a bit of a gnarly edge, as some of the youngsters say. Okay, let's bring this in to play. Ooh. Come on. There you go. Now, just clamp down. Yep, you will do it if I ask nicely enough. Okay. Then bring that in. Tighten that up. Nice and secured. And find a mark. Oh, well. I figured it would come at some point that I would drop that. But you know what? That's why I keep multiple tape measures. Because tape measures are cheap. Okay. Well, let's get this another cut going. Okay. That's interesting. It's pinching the blade a little bit. And there we go. And say reasonables. On the pile. Okay. So I've got 2 more of these 1-foot pieces that I need to get cut out. So we're just across the 2. Ha! Ha! I can get to you. Ooh. Ooh, look at all that clear lumber. No, not in sight. So what I mean to say is I'm going to get the next 2 1-foot pieces cut out. And then I'll end stream. Let's see. Alright. Get that tight. Yep. That's 1 clamp. Now up to the second. We'll get that really good. Lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. And now I don't want to have to reach for a new tape measure. There we go. Bloop. Speed square. And as you can see, that's the reason why I don't like using this one. That's why I usually use that one down there. Is that it's a little bit more friendly. It doesn't want to fight me as much. Okay. Let's do a little bit of cutting. Wow. They did reasonably well. Got a little bit of a hook towards the end, but I think it's just because I got a little aggressive with it. But hey, got a 1-foot piece. So that gets added to the pile. Okay. And the next one. Foil Oh boy, does that clamp not like letting go. I don't even notice. See, that's the true way to take. That's the true way to deal with like mistakes. Don't even notice them. Don't even notice them. Whoa. Hey now. Let's see. You know what? It doesn't. Ooh, there we go. There we go. I definitely have been putting this Pittsburgh clamp through plenty of pressure cycles because the ratcheting system on it and the mistakes are in the are the mistakes in the room with us right now? I don't know, they're somewhere. I mean, another way to really like look at that is to be like, ooh, and that's the thing with these. I can't get them super tight. I can get them tight, but I can't get them super tight. That's the nice thing about the wooden handled one. The wooden handled one, I can get that like stupid tight. But really, mistakes aren't necessarily a bad thing. Like, there's people out there that are afraid to try stuff simply because they're scared of the mistakes they'll make if they try a thing. And it's like, no. You don't get how, like, the world works. You ought to try. You ought to try. It is better to try and learn than to never do it at all. Because, like, it's like all those like famous like articles and like stuff you read on like the internet of people being like, hey, at the end of the day, what do you regret the most in life? And it's like doing, it's always like, I should have done this or I should have done that. Is always I was too scared to try something I wanted to do. It's never, I'm glad I didn't do that. No one's at the end of their life on their deathbed wishing they didn't jump off a bridge. Instead, they're like, man, it would have been fun if I tried bungee jumping off a bridge once or something, you know? So it's always better to try, especially if it's like a low risk thing. Like, this is the most dangerous thing I'm playing with right now. This is the greatest danger to my well-being right now. Either that or there's also the situation where someone in chat could just say something just absolutely savage to me, which that's an emotional hurt, which is fine. Okay. Ooh. Oh man. Oh, look at that. That's a good cut. Oh man. Just as a kid for most things. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh my goodness gracious. Man, the things I wish I knew as a kid. I mean, but that feeling is important. I genuinely think that feeling is important. That feeling of, I wish I knew this as a kid. Because that's a thing that I feel like really pushes people to like actual like act on, maybe perhaps be a little bit more impulsive while you're in your 30s, you know? Something like that. Like, hey, I wish I learned these lessons as a kid. But you know what? The me that I have the most control of in my entire life is the me right now. So if I want to learn that new skill, what's something I can do right now to learn that new skill? Or, okay, I want to try a new experience. What do I need to do to put myself in the position to have that new experience? Do I want to do a career change? What are the things I can do to help make that career change happen? There's an Haikyuu. There's a character in Haikyuu that makes a real great genius versus hard work speech, and man, that's my principal guiding philosophy today. I learned it 3 days ago. Oh gosh, I watched Haikyuu. I should know who this is. Genius versus hard work. I don't think that's Takana. That might be Takana. I think it's Takana. Yeah, because Takana is like the ball-headed. Well, he's shaved in the Kurosano volleyball team. But yeah, like the moment, it was actually the most recent like season of the anime that he had like that moment of when he was having to confront the fact that he's like an ordinary person. From the black shirt, yes. Okay, good. But yeah, that moment where he's just like, he's usually like boundlessly positive, but he does have like those moments where it's like, I have to confront the fact that I don't have talent and I'm surrounded by like really talented people, and just how much that like gut punches him. That is definitely a very real moment in like anime, and a really good one too. Not sure. Unfortunately, my biggest instance of a gut punch in my life, and also coincidentally the Monsters Ball speech. I love it, and I wish the next movie would come out. Oh my god. Honestly, the Haikyuu OST, Monsters Ball, I love that. I love that song so much. I've avoided the manga. I mean, I've only watched Haikyuu through the anime. But, which is even funny, I actually got my my brother in love. I got him into Haikyuu, which was real funny because he's actually not like a really big fan of anime or anything like that. But he got into Haikyuu. I mean, Haikyuu is just a really good show, and I'm also like a sucker for really good music, and Haikyuu's got really good music. Oh my gosh, I had thought. Oh yeah, thought. One of the most hurtful things that has been said to me probably in the past 10 years was the most innocent of questions. Haikyuu is universal. And what the question was, in a little bit of context, is I was doing a volunteer thing where we were like going around. Oh yeah, yep. I should know his name, but I don't. I should. I think he's done a few other shows, but My Hero and Haikyuu are like the two biggest shows he's done work for. But I was doing this volunteer thing with other volunteers, and we were doing some like plant ID. We're like doing a plant ID hike thing. It was kind of meant to be like, hey, like kind of like build the skills of volunteer sort of thing. And at one point, one of my fellow volunteers, because I was like chiming in with like our instructor just as much on like plants and trees and different things like that, and he turns to me and goes, "What's your background?" And that question, "What's your background?" was one of the more hurtful things that has been said to me in my adult life, which I don't hold like any ill will towards this person. It was really gut-wrenching in that moment, because my first thought when he asked me that was to answer forest. Like when he asked me my background, my very first thought was like what was behind me, not from the context of like where I gained knowledge and things. And having kind of that internal realization was kind of like the biggest like gut punch I've had in my life, which is kind of why I'm trying to tie that into talking on his moment of helplessness, which for me in my moment was like not like dealing with the fact that someone said something. It was just like intrinsically hurtful, but there was no ill intent behind it whatsoever, and just being like, okay, I'm emotionally a little weird right now, because on one hand I'm hurting, but I know this is not being done with any ill intent. And just realizing, yeah, life just throws gut punches sometimes. Life just has a way of just making you feel like either an absolute piece of garbage, either just a regular human being. And you know what? Like, that's just part of being alive. And actually, that's honestly kind of a good thing of being alive, because I genuinely think if life didn't push back on like me existing, I would find existing to be a lot more boring. Because it's kind of like so I mean, I'm a VTuber. To compare this in kind of like gaming terms, and it's kind of like when you're playing like Age of Empires 2, Stronghold Crusader, and you sort of those like RTS resource management kind of tactical games where like in the beginning, that's what having kids is like. They humble you. Yep. Oh gosh, now I got to go off on another tangent. It's funny because I've seen people on the internet be like, "Man, I'm not ready for kids." And here's the thing. No one's ready for kids when they have kids. You have kids, well, I mean, you have to be a certain level of adult, certainly. You gotta have, like, ideally, you have the paid bills, you're doing a decent job of taking care of yourself as a person. And granted, a lot of that stuff's self-selecting, because in order to have kids, it takes two to tango, you know? And at least two people have to sign off on, like, hey, we're each adult enough to handle this additional responsibility, which is an incredibly huge bundle of responsibility. But it's kind of one of those things where you kind of just have to, like, you can go into it as prepared as you think you are, but you're still never going to be, like, you're never going to be perfectly prepared for it. And you know what? You just gotta, it's like swimming, where you just have to jump into the deep end. You just gotta get into it. And okay, so that's that tangent. I had another tangent before that, and I knew I was going to lose that tangent. So I'm going to give myself some delaying ums and oohs, and I'm unsure about that. Oh wait, I was talking about how like life pushes back on you. Me and my wife planned for years. I did 8 years in early childhood development, still learned stuff. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's a Like, it's a very novel experience, and really the only way to like truly learn it is to be, well, in the thick of the action. I mean, I've gotten tastes of it babysitting a niece and nephew, but I mean, I'm reasonably an adult, but I don't have to worry about kids. But yeah, I did regain my previous thought, and then it was like having life push back on me, and it's like, and that's at times a good thing, because, well, occasionally we do dumb stuff, and then pain happens, and it's like, ooh, okay, don't do that again. Which, actually, you know what? I can grab it. It's a little bit of a walk around. But yeah, instances of dumb mistakes this guy's made. I was splitting firewood once, and it wasn't necessarily with this tool. This was just the easiest one to reach. I had this in a split of wood, like yay so, and then I took the piece of wood, holding it like this, and I took the axe and slammed it down into the axe with the piece of wood in it into a log. What happened was the log split, and then my thumbnail jammed into the piece of wood. And I got a really good ouchie out of that. But am I sad that I split the firewood? No. I have firewood. Now, did I learn to not do this? Time will tell. But for now, I'm going to be a little bit more careful. Maybe have my thumb on like the back. Make sure I just have it in a position to where if my hand goes through the piece of wood can go on either side of my axe head and not jam a fingernail into a piece of wood. So I think we're talking a little bit too much about life lessons at this point in time. So I'd like to say, well, go ahead and just wrap up stream because it's getting kind of late and I still need to grab one of those shower things before tomorrow. So I want to say thank you very much, everyone, for tuning in. I'm sorry I didn't have sorry it was just like a I mean I didn't lose the fingernail. It wasn't that bad. Granted, darn it. The thing is if I did lose the fingernail, that's probably going to be a mistake I never make again. Whereas like a low-grade ouchie is like, I might repeat that at some point. I don't know. But yeah. So I haven't seen Yoshinaru give any feedback yet. So I'm actually going to give him a little bit more time to think on an art tag. Because, I mean, hey, I'm in no rush for that. And they're the one who wanted it. So, with all that, yeah, just get that little PSA because, hey, that's like the pinned comment on the thing. So, but yeah, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I am going to be working on this again next week. It's actually probably going to be next Thursday. I'm going to be doing that. And what I'm probably going to do is I'm going to have a few more boards cut up. I'm going to actually do some board cutting off stream. I'll be doing all the board cutting with these and reasonably abiding the rules. But as far as like doing the planing of the wood and actually getting it nice, I'm going to actually use the power tools to get it done in a reasonable manner. So because what I want to do on that stream is just assemble, bring it together, and depending on how time goes, probably if I have a little bit of time, I want to bust out the wood burning kit and maybe do some light decorating on it. So a bit of that. Might as well plug next stream. So Sunday evening, we're gonna go get back to the campfire, and we're gonna be doing the mango macadamia nut crisp. Oh, dog, I gave up. Oh, okay. Well, I guess we're just gonna have to go. You don't have to wait. I'm sorry. Don't worry about it. I mean, here's the thing. I struggled with that. It's just Sugoi illustration was like the closest I could get because it was like, okay, that's not taken. That's a pun, and that's kind of related to my name, just a little bit. And that was the reasonable best I came up with. But yeah. But thanks for giving it a shot, though. So. Oh, no. Oh, damn it. Did someone just literally solve all the problems in the world with a single dumb comment? Because my main issue with... Here's the thing, I am actually checking the... Okay. There is a related tag for that. Wait, that's just top. What's our latest looking like? Okay, so the latest, there is a Yamagawa... Yeah, there is... Okay, so that is a hashtag that has been used on the Twitters in 2013. And as far as I can tell, let's see, that hashtag has been used 6 times with the RT capitalized. Actually, okay, so that's searched there. I'm gonna actually, it's probably not taken on Bluesky, but I'm actually gonna just do a check on Bluesky, because if it's not, well, wait, I'm checking. That's a great, yeah. I'm reasonably, wait. Ah, I gotta add a thing. Okay, so that is definitely not being used on Bluesky. Okay. And there we go. I like that. That's a lot better than the nonsense I came up with, because I genuinely feel like Sugoi illustration was a little bit too... It's a little bit too uppity for a person like me. Like, oh, I'm just a little guy. I'm just a little nobody, just having my best. So thank you. Thank you very much. Oh man, we got something taken care of today. We got another thing taken care of other than sawing wood, which, oh man, I love it when I take care of things. Also taking care of things that I... Oh no. Oh goodness gracious. Okay, yes, it's 2.5 hours. Okay. And I also started late because, well, I was on call today, and that on call ended at 7, so that's the only time I could reasonably start. So I'll be around next time on Sunday evening. We'll be gathered around the campfire. We're going to do some dessert cooking. And with all that, thank you very much, everyone who tuned in today. And hopefully I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.